How's everybody doing today? I'm here with Yossi Abraham with Zappix. He is the president of Zappix, and this is the next installment of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And we're going to be talking a little bit about virtual IVRs or visual IVRs today, not virtual IVRs. Everybody has those, but visual IVRs. We definitely want to dig deeper into this topic because it's one that we've seen in the industry is really having an impact on customer experience and the employee experience. But with that, Yossi, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to have this conversation with me. Can you tell folks a little bit about you and what your journey's been like with Zapix?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. And every time that the word coffee is mentioned, I'll be happy to be there as a coffee addict.
Excellent.
I'm with Zapix for the last 3 years, and what we provide is mobile on-demand customer service solutions, which is really geared towards the people that are using their mobile phone, but not only. It's really geared towards the people that are around the mobility. You want to be served wherever you are, whenever you are, and so on. And if you remember pre-COVID times when we used to travel and people went to airports or bus stations or trains, sometimes you need to check the status of a claim while you're on the bus or on the train or waiting for your airplane. And you don't really want to speak with an agent. You want to do it via some type of digital self-service. And this is where we come into the picture.
Excellent.
We do it using Visual IVR, on-demand apps, and outbound engagement. So we're a startup company based in just outside of Boston, and we are serving today about 40 customers from around the world in multiple verticals.
So how long has Zapix been around?
So Zapix has been around a couple of years before I joined them, but they had a different business model. It was more geared towards a native app that you download. It was B2C company. And then due to some changes in management, they changed the company to become really a B2B company. And quite honestly, it's a B2B2C company. So we are selling to businesses and the businesses are supporting their customers. And the main goal is to improve customer experience while we help our customers reduce their costs.
Excellent. And that's a challenge that I think a lot of companies are facing is, got to get those costs down, but you also, the customers have an expectation of the level of service that they expect from companies as a whole. So what challenges do you see, like the visual IVR solution or mobile on demand type of applications, solving? What are the challenges that it's really solving?
So first of all, the last year has accelerated so much of the digital transformation that companies have maybe thought about, but have not yet implemented. And the last year, we have seen so many discussions with the prospects that became customers or continuous discussions with prospects that really understood that in order to survive in today's economy and competitive landscape, you have to show agility, you have to be digital, you have to be flexible in the solutions you provide to your customers. And indeed, many companies provide the omni-channel, as we call it in our industry, multiple ways to communicate with a company, but voice is still king. And there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of calls coming into call centers every month. And our goal is to help them deflect somewhere between 25 to 30% of those calls. So they should not go to the agent. They can be managed by the visual self-service. And this is how we help our customers.
So it's really getting those transactions or the transactions that aren't like really in depth, getting those off of the agent's plate rather than tying up additional FTE. So it really does it really free up the FTEs to do other things, or what are you seeing there?
You're exactly right. So what we've seen is is the Pareto principle being applied here also.
Okay.
I really believe in Pareto principle in everything that we do in life almost, and it's the same. It's applicable here too.
Mm-hmm.
What we see is that typically about 20% of the use cases, what are the reasons people calling into the call center, create 80% of the volume. And
Yeah.
when you really analyze them, you see that they are repetitive calls, mundane calls, low value add to the organization. It can be, what is the status of my order? I want to submit a claim. I want to check the status of a claim. I want to update. I want to reset my password and so on and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. And they do not provide a lot of value to the business. And you also, one additional thing, you really don't need any type of empathy or a complex solution that requires an agent to handle
Yes.
them. So when we are helping the call centers deflect that away from the agents, it allows the agents, first of all, more time to handle the more complex, high value add calls. And second of all, it's many call centers are suffering from shortage of people today. And
Exactly.
because of the COVID-19, because of the move to home and so on, and we're helping them bridge that gap of the shortage of people.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the things that you just said that really resonated with me, um, was the fact that you have people that are calling in, and it's creating 80% of the volume that's coming in. When you have your customers calling in, and what's interesting is those 80% of the more transactional calls, the things that can be easily handled through a self-service model, is probably increasing a level of frustration for customers. So the calls that they really need more empathy on, or they need to be more on target for the agents. They're stressed out, they're burnt out already.
Yes,
They don't have a time to breathe between those other calls, and then when they actually get one that needs a little bit more attention, kid gloves, hand holding, whatever the case may be, that it's hard to get to those, to that level of expectation. Uh,
exactly.
yeah. So, are you seeing a lot of folks being repurposed in the contact center organizations that you support? For instance, I mean, if you're able to reduce FTE count, for a company, are you seeing those people being repurposed to do something else?
So we see a couple of things. One is really being repurposed for a different type of activities. The second part, as I said, is to bridge the gap of recruitment, of onboarding new ones because they are
Mm-hmm.
short on an agent for that time.
Yeah.
And it can also be just allowing, as we said, with the same amount of agents, but to allocate their time a bit different. So they are not
Mm-hmm.
stressed to finish the call so quickly because we are taking care of those mundane, repetitive calls. They can have another 1 or 2 minutes per complex, high value call for
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah. So it becomes more a solutions based um, conversation, as opposed to uh, you know I got to finish this call in 4 minutes.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. You really try to solve the problem of the person that you're talking with.
so with some of the companies that you've worked with, what are some of the success stories that have been shared back with you?
So I will share a couple of them. First of all, we have one of our partners has a lot of retail customers, and
Mm-hmm.
and in retail it's very, they are really, almost all of them have that peak
Yep.
in November and then in December and then it drops down again. So one of the main areas we support our customers in the retail is that we allow them not to recruit so many people during that peak time, which is really a challenge because
Mm-hmm.
we help them deflect during that call. And these are really, calls like, where is my order? What is the return status? I want to initiate a return and so on. So we help, just flatten a bit better that peak. Another one is we recently launched a solution for roadside assistance.
Mm.
And roadside assistance, you take this call, and instead of someone is stuck on the right side of the road, and now they wait 7, 8, 10 minutes for the agent to answer, and then what do they do with the agent? They basically fill out the form. What is your policy number? What happened, and so on. And then the agents will send out the truck. So what we did, we created a visual IVR for that customer, and we took that handling down from about 7 to 8 minutes to less than 2 minutes for the person basically receiving the text, opening the visual IVR, completing everything there, clicking a button, and when they click submit, we are now working with the automation with our customer to automate all of the process of sending out the truck to the right place, and so on. And here we're utilizing geolocation. We can grab it from the GPS of the phone. Smart forms, we use APIs in order to pull the policy information, and so on. So that's another success story that we have. And the third one I'll mention is actually coming from healthcare, which is not really visual IVR, but it's all about digital engagement. So healthcare is somewhere around 5 to 7 years behind the e-commerce side and everything around digitization. And one of the main things that we see today is the consumerization of healthcare. So healthcare providers are trying to become more consumer-like handling of their patients. And what we do for them is that we provide them with, for example, very visual, easy to use appointment reminders. So you get it, it's not just a text, it has a link where you can confirm, cancel, get directions, add to calendar, and so on. We built for them an on-demand app, basically a web app for that practice, for that department, because no one will really download a native app for a certain department. But here we allow them all the content that they want to have there. And the last thing we are about to launch is a solution for gastroenterology. And for all those that have had colonoscopy, for example, when you have this piece of paper telling you 7 days before, stop eating this, 4 days before, start to eat this, and 2 days, and you don't really remember. So we are going to send text messages with a link to the exact instructions 7 days before, 5 days before, 3 days before, with the exact instructions for those times. And the purpose of all of that is to improve the preparedness before coming to the appointment. And that's, of course, increases the efficiency, but also improves the customer, or actually it's here, the patient satisfaction from this interaction.
Yeah, so rather than having to reschedule because I forgot to do that at this time, they'll have that reminder coming through to them. Whether
at the exact time.
At the exact time.
3 days before, 2 days before, different reminders. Based on the medical regimen.
Set it and go at the patient level, not necessarily based on a date. One of the other things that I really like about the platform is, I don't have to download anything else on my phone. Once I go through the company's IVR, whoever I'm calling, I can get a request. Hey, do you want a visual IVR experience? If so, press 1 and we'll go ahead and shoot this text to your app or to your phone, and it comes over as a text message that a lot of people save their text messages. So the redundancy and the scalability of what can be done with that is pretty high, I would assume.
You're absolutely right. And what we see is that typically 3 months after we launch a visual IVR solution with our customers, 50% of the visits are actually coming from repeat customers that don't even call the IVR again. And so you're absolutely right there. It's we're helping our customers with the digital transformation and with a shift from voice to digital.
Oh, fantastic. And you also mentioned about geolocation, and as we're starting to see the end of the COVID era, I'm sure a lot of people are checking in with their counties or their healthcare providers, whoever, say, okay, I'm ready. And then it becomes they have to be online to go ahead and choose what facility. Well, a company that engages with a visual IVR, they can not just get what facilities are closest to them, but also the driving instructions to them as well, which which is really good for not just the current COVID vaccination period that we're in, but I would think also with IVR retailers like grocery stores and other retailers that may have multiple locations within a geographical area.
Yeah. And even simple things like, find a store near me, find an office near me, find a dentist near, and whatever.
Yeah.
So we can use the entire scope of all of the features of a mobile phone, whether it's geolocation. Think about another capability, which is taking a picture.
Yes.
So I recently called my insurance company because we had a small leak and I needed to report a water leak in the house. And I had to call my insurance company, and then I waited again 7-8 minutes to the agent to answer. And then the agent answered. He asked me a lot of questions. How do you spell Yossi? How do you spell Abraham? How do you spell Opendale? And all of that. And then after 7-8 minutes, he said, "Okay, now I'll send you an email. Please reply to the email with attachments of pictures of the damage, and someone will contact you tomorrow." I said, "Why? Why? I could have done all of that in probably in less than a minute. Use my phone to take a couple of pictures, attach it to the form that we built, and that's it." And so using all of the capabilities of the phone, a video FAQs, cameras, and so on.
So one of the other benefits of like a visual IVR that you can't get from talking to an agent is you can get links directly into their knowledge base. You can get links directly into a company's CRM where it could actually impact the cost of goods and services provided, because you don't have that added expense of an additional $17 or $20 $25 an hour customer service representative, which they serve a very valuable purpose. But if you can really get the customer to where they need to be faster and get them the answers that they actually need, the customer experience is just mile high at that time.
Yes.
So,
and one more thing I will add to what you said, because you mentioned the word revenue, is that don't forget that with Visual IVR, you have a captive audience.
Yep.
What we can do is always put any kind of a banner with promotion, the coupon. We have seen that you have recently purchased this shirt. Why don't here's a coupon for 20% off to purchase pants, for example. And then you're taking this interaction, this customer service interaction, and you can transform it into a potential revenue generating experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the big box retailers, they're okay with giving you, a store credit, to return anything as long as it's something that they sell, because they know that you're going to come back and sell and buy, 2 to 3 times, that as well. So what a great idea for revenue generation in a digital world.
Yep.
Excellent. So as we start to get to wrap up here, Yossi, I got you in the speed round now. All right. So what fact about Yossi would people be surprised to learn about you?
Oh, I'll say something that no one will ever guess.
Okay.
It is that Paul McCartney once took a picture of me.
Whoa.
And I need to tell that story. And I used to live in London several years ago, and I was sitting in a Starbucks there with my laptop, and suddenly outside I see Paul McCartney just in front of me, and he's looking at me, and he's taking out his phone, and he's taking a picture of me, and I was in shock. And the person sitting by me said, "Did Paul McCartney just take a picture of you?" I think so. I don't know what happened here. And then after he left, I had to go out and see, is there something there? So I went out of the Starbucks and I saw that he just had a promotion with Starbucks, and they had like this one-sided stickers on the glass, and so he took actually a picture of himself, but I was just in front of him. So.
We'll keep it simple and say Paul McCartney took a picture of you.
That's it.
There you go. Enough said. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've lived in many places throughout the globe. You've traveled a lot, both for business and personal. What's your ideal off the grid location? Just someplace to kind of go and clear your head.
So people will be surprised, but I would actually say Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I love going there when it's not on a business trip or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
Just, this is my place where I actually wind down, and I like to sit on a poker table and just, forget about everything and focus on that. And then something else would be just to sit on the deck outside when the weather is good. Here in New England, we have like 2-3 months of that in a year, with a good whiskey and a cigar, and just that's it.
That's awesome. I would love to join you in Las Vegas sometime, or even in New England, two of my favorite places myself. So
Yeah.
excellent. So if someone wants to learn a little bit more about Zappix, or potentially get a demo, or dig a little bit deeper into a challenge that they're trying to solve, where should they start?
First and foremost, our website,
Okay.
www.zappix.com. You can contact me on my LinkedIn or my email, yossi.abraham@zappix.com, and we'll be happy to answer any question.
Excellent. Yossi, thank you very much. This has been very informative. Great discussion as always. I love chatting with you, my friend. And thank you for sharing some information that people may not have known about Visual IVR, and how it can really have a positive impact on businesses and customer experience.
Perfect.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for having me
Hey,
on.
thanks a lot, Yossi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.